Welcome to Tabletop Gaming Guild. Tabletop Gaming Guild is all about the experiences and memories of playing tabletop games with friends and families can create. And today we're going to be unboxing Sleeping God Distant Skies. This is published by Red Raven Games and designed by Ryan Lockett. And this is a standalone expansion for Sleeping God. This is the Kickstarter version with beautiful raised lettering and a beautiful cover. And I'm not exactly sure what the differences are going to be for retail, but their games always look phenomenal. So far, the inside this cover art is really nice. It's a little bit of space that's often not used very well. But Red Raven Games are always really good about using every bit of space they can for game mechanics or art, and always looks phenomenal and plays phenomenally. I don't want to linger too long on any one thing because I want to avoid any minor spoilers, but there's so much content in the Sleeping God series. I couldn't possibly spoil even a small chunk of these twists and turns of this game. And if you see something here, there's a good chance it may not even come up in a playthrough or two. It might take a number of playthroughs to actually see that, because there's just so much content in these games. And that's what's amazing about the Sleeping God game, and I'm assuming it's going to be true for this one as well, is they did so much work expanding this world and building all this content that it's one of the few games that is a heavy story game, yet is very replayable, because you'll never get the same story from game to game. It'll be completely different paths, completely different branching storylines. Yeah, and there's only a limited number of endings, but the way you get there is going to be completely different. But I digress. Now, I love the rule set for Sleeping Gods, but it was a little bit of a slog getting it learned for the first time, going through the tutorial. I'm hoping this resolves that, and these rules do look like they're much more streamlined than the base Sleeping Gods. So yes, I would say that's hopefully a good thing. And I kind of went through that quickly, but they did have that introduction book, which I'm assuming is the same thing they did in base Sleeping Gods, where the beginning of the game is somewhat scripted, just to intro you to the world and the mechanics. I did notice on the dice, though, they have negative numbers, so that's an ominous portent. But let's go forward and look at these minis. Now, normally I'd show every single piece of content when I'm unboxing, but this style of game, there's a lot of content, and some of it can be minor spoilers, so I will skim through and show you a few of the cards, little bit of everything, so you get a sense of what is in this game without spoiling it for you. Now, and also in these type of games, the order the cards are in can be important, so that's another reason to be very careful about what I'm showing you. I don't want to mix the orders up. Now, these are numbered, so I'm just thinking, I suspect, like in Sleeping Gods, the main importance would be just making it easier to find the right cards. They always have a good balance between art and functionality, especially in their card mechanics. Like, okay, you get a nice image of the monster you're fighting, but the focus is on that functionality at the lower half. And they have a pretty cool mechanic in Sleeping Gods where you're basically covering these spots when you do damage, and you can focus on covering the hearts to kill the monster, or covering the other symbols to reduce the effectiveness of the monster so it's not doing as much damage back to you. Given that there's multiple copies of each of these, I'm assuming these are the common monsters that you're going to be running through all the time in the game, so I'm not too worried about spoilers on those. I see this big chest on the bottom, and that's probably where you're going to find all the unique monsters, and you're probably going to have a lot more unique art in those. Most of these look like cards that add abilities to your player characters. There's a couple other cards mixed in that I suspect are events related to a specific location. Again, given that these aren't in the chest, I'm assuming these are going to be common things that won't be spoilers to see. I will avoid showing you much out of the chest. This is probably going to be all the cards I reveal. I'm not sure what all these tokens are, but the number of blood tokens kind of hints that you might have some pretty intense battles with lots of wounds going around. Let's take a quick look at these chests. I'm not going to open any of these decks. Let's just give you an idea of how many cards we're dealing with in this game and how many different types. So we'll just glance at front and back of each. And again, I'm seeing a huge number of possible quests and adventures. You probably will see a fraction of these in a single playthrough. And that, again, that's one of the amazing things that was in Sleeping Gods is you're starting on this map. You can go any direction you want, and any direction you choose is going to lead you on a different, unique, branching storyline that you can follow that to its conclusion, or you can branch off to a different storyline. And there's so much that you can do, so many directions you could go, and every choice you can make is going to matter for the overall story, and it's going to lead you to more story. It's just, it's unfathomable how much they put into this, and then with how much they put in Sleeping Gods itself, that they still had so much left over that they can make an entirely new standalone expansion. I mean, I think Ryan Lockett must be some sort of genius, and his team must be incredible. And there was a pretty short turnaround between Sleeping Gods and Distant Skies. I would have thought it would take years to mass all this content. And also all the components for Sleeping Gods Distant Skies, which look amazing, but there's so much more that I can't show you because a lot of this game is in the story. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check us out on other social media such as Instagram and Facebook, and don't forget to like and subscribe.